All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm excited to be talking with Alexia Jay today and just collaborating with Brookline High School and discussing Black History every day. Alexia, if you can go ahead and just jump into, your background, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you went to school, all those things.
All right. My name is Alexia Jay. I am from Boston. I'm born and raised in Jamaica Plain. I still live here now. I love JP. I love Boston. My background is I went to Boston Arts Academy. That's kind of where my official schooling in like the creative field started. I went to Boston Arts Academy for high school for visual art. And when I graduated, I went to school for fashion design. And somehow I moved into going to school for cosmetology. But I was working like, a regular 9 to 5 for a while. And then I ended up leaving that position to just go to school for full time for cosmetology, which focuses more on hair than makeup. Later on, I got into makeup. So that's kind of where the background story is.
Okay, wow. What did you go to fashion school at, if you don't mind me asking?
Mount Ida. And I
Mount.
didn't finish there, but I went to Mount Ida.
Okay. So what made you decide to switch from fashion to cosmetology? How did you get into that?
So I didn't finish school at Mount Ida at all. I ended up dropping out just because I felt like, and I had felt like this prior to going to school and to college. I just felt like this is for me, that's going to school for fashion design wasn't the smart move. I should have went for marketing or business. So if I decided to go back, that's what I planned on doing, is going for marketing or business. Because once you know how to sew, you kind of just know how to sew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like you don't need to go to 4 years of school for that. And that's just my opinion. Um, so then I ended up working just a regular 9 to 5. I got into working for Partners Healthcare.
Okay.
From there, I was there for probably about 8 to 9 years working for the hospital as an admin. And then I moved into not liking my position anymore. And I think it was more so because I knew I was a creative and it was just starting to become a struggle to sit behind a desk when you're a creative and everything you do is just like has to be sitting behind a chair is like extremely hard when you're wanting to move around and when you're wanting to wear ripped up jeans all day. You don't want to go to work. Like if anybody sees me on a daily, I'm so relaxed. I love just being more free. I'm a free spirit. I guess that's the best way to say. So I ended up leaving that position just because it got to the point where I was getting promotions, but each position, the higher your position goes, the more you're just like, this is too much work, and I have no time to not be working and do something else.
Yeah, and it doesn't inspire you.
Right, and you end up getting into this headspace where you're not showing up for the position that you did sign up for. So I think it's important to, obviously, if you apply for a job and you get the job, you're supposed to do your job at 100%. And at some point you stop doing that naturally. Like I think it's somewhat of if you get in a kind of a depressed state of things. And I think that I've heard that from a lot of other creatives who have to work 9 to 5s in order to make ends meet. They have children, they have other, responsibilities. I didn't have that. So I was able to just quit my job and go to hair school. And I think I got into the hair school thing was because I knew a lot of designers. And some people randomly would ask me like, oh, can you, because they knew I knew how to do my own hair and makeup. So they would just ask me like, oh, can you come on this shoot and just like, hang out. And I would end up doing some crazy hairstyle or makeup or something fun, just having fun, nothing like serious. And I started liking it because I felt like it tied in the visual art aspect of what I do and my love for just beauty in general. It was really on myself, but I just started to, I guess, enjoy the photo shoots part of it. Like I think I enjoyed the editorial stuff a lot, like more than I expected. I didn't expect to feel that way about that part of it, but I did. I ended up really liking it. And I think that was just my scapegoat to just kind of be creative, but also make money. So I went to cosmetology school and I had the opportunity to collect unemployment while I was in school. Like everything fell into place at the right time. Mm-hmm. So I was able to kind of like focus on just going to school rather than trying to find another job and go to school. So everything kind of just fell in place as far as like financial stability goes, and as well as just going to school and focusing on what I was doing. And I started at night. So I ended up starting school like maybe a month before I actually quit. So I was going to night school first, and then I ended up quitting altogether and then going to day school and finishing cosmetology school within a year. So that was cool.
Wow. So like when you took that initial leap, like how did you feel? Were you nervous at all? Like, you know?
Oh yeah. I think I was nervous, but I think that my feelings about coming to work every day superseded like that nervous feeling. So it was like I was in such of in such a not a good place mentally when it came to that job, that I would take anything that somebody gave me. If somebody gave me an application to work at McDonald's, I probably would have been like, all right. Like, because it was just so much. It was so much.
It wasn't to do.
When you're creative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The higher your position gets, the more work you have to do. So it was becoming too much. So.
Nice. Okay. And so you touched it, you know, when you're telling a little bit about your background, you touched on editorial. And, you know, just from following you on Instagram, I've seen you were on shoots. You're doing
Yes. That's my favorite. That's my specialty. Is to like be on editorial shoots.
What makes it your favorite? I think maybe you touched on it a little bit. What makes it your favorite?
I think because so when somebody books you for a wedding or their birthday or something very like mainstream, you do end up doing the run-of-the-mill makeup or hair. You don't get to do anything too creative. But when you do a photo shoot, you know, most times they want something really artsy. Sometimes, like, you know, they want you to build a hairstyle that's 6 feet high, or make somebody's ponytail hang off their head a certain way, or if it comes to makeup, they want you to do glossy lids, where nobody in their right mind on a regular day is going to put gloss and lashes that fan out to here on their face. You know what I mean? So yeah. I feel like that ties into my visual art background, because I'm able to kind of create as well as make money and do hair and makeup. So I'm able to create and kind of tie it all in together as like, and you feel like you're kind of creating a sculpture, or like if I was playing with clay in class, that's kind of the same feeling I have if I'm just taking some braiding hair and creating this massive piece of art. You know what I mean? It kind of feels the same way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. You just get to be more creative. What's been like your favorite shoot that you've done so far, editorial shoot?
Oh man, my favorite shoot. Let me try to think about it. I've done so many. Or
have you done or is there like one like hairstyle that's been like the most outrageous, most creative thing that you've ever done?
I'd probably say it was a small shoot that was super spontaneous. I don't know if you know the designer I Am Creole.
Yes.
And the photographer D. Irvin. So she also is a stylist outside of her own brand. This is years ago. And we ended up just doing a random shoot where she just pulled up all these crazy tubes that she got from freaking Home Depot. Like, it was like, I wish I had the picture I could just pop up on the screen so you guys could see what I mean. But the shoot was crazy. We ended up building this high ponytail, and like, you had to be very still because it would fall, but it was this high ponytail with these tubes and like really spacey, if that makes any sense. And then we shot it at the Bartlett Yard in Roxbury before they closed it down and made the new buildings that are there. So it's like an old train station dirt and like, you know, railroad and everything like that. And it was really fun. It was really spontaneous, and I was able to have creative freedom. So I kind of went crazy. And I'll even say my second favorite is when I put the toothpicks in the woman's hair. I don't know if you saw that shoot. She had 2 braids, I believe it was, and I just took toothpicks and stuck them all down her long braids. This is her real hair, but she had long hair, and I just stuck them in there. And that probably was my second favorite shoot. I'll make sure to post them today so that whoever sees this, they can see what I was talking about.
how do you come up with this stuff? Do you know, are you inspired by, you know, things that you've already seen, or is it just pops into your head, or you just like see objects around you? How do you get, you know, this inspiration for these creative hairstyles and things like that?
Um, One, sometimes I'm inspired by the theme. So if somebody has like a theme, or they can show me what the model or person will be wearing. Sometimes I can get inspired by that, and sometimes it's just random stuff that pops in my head, um, like for the thorns, the sticks that I stuck in her hair. There was a story that went along with that, and I believe it was like thorns. It's like a story of a woman in a struggle, I believe, or something to that effect. I can't remember. It was years ago. But that kind of inspired me, and we literally ran out to CVS and got toothpicks, came back, and then finished the hair because it just came in my mind to just do that. So it's just random. There's really no way to explain it. I kind of will see something or think of something, or if I'm inspired by, like I said, the theme or the story of whatever this art piece is supposed to be, that usually will inspire me to do something kind of funky. And then sometimes it is inspired by something I've seen online or something like that.
Have you ever done like a little like a showdown like with other artists?
No, but I think that would be so fun.
Yes,
I
I'm
think that would be really
like
fun.
reality show, like competition shows. So that would be like really cool to see, you know, hairstylists and makeup artists really compete with, you know, coming out,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
That
people
might be a good idea. You might have started something there.
look forward to it, but
Right.
you never know. But no, that I think that would be really cool, especially, you know, bringing in your visual design background. Um,
Right.
what would you say the um, scene is like in Boston for um, you know, people who work on these editorial shoots, or you know, hairstylists or you know, makeup artists? You know, what's the scene like in Boston? What would you say?
Um, I think we do have a lot of creatives here, obviously. But when I think of editorial hair and makeup,
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't see that many people do it as much as I see other places. You know, like LA, New York, Miami, you know, all those places, the capital places. I don't see it as much here. And I wish that it was a bigger scene here for that. Um, I mean, I think it's building itself to get there. I think it's slowly getting there. But I've been doing hair and makeup for officially since being licensed for probably about 7 or 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's a slow progression getting there. So I'm not sure how to answer that one pretty
Yeah, no,
much.
it definitely makes.
Yeah.
I think definitely since Boston and this area is considered to be like more academic, probably than more than LA and New York and Miami and
Right.
places. So it
Right.
makes sense. Um,
And Boston's pretty conservative, so I could see why it's kind of taken a bit to get there.
what do you think could help change that, or you know, what do you feel like could could really propel this kind of thing for Boston?
More artist studios that are affordable, that are local and not so far out. Because I feel like the reason why we have a lot of studios that are outside of Boston. I've been to them just all over Rhode Island and the suburbs.
Yeah,
But I think that the issue with that is that the reason why people are putting them so far is because the rent in Boston is so high to rent these spaces out and use them. So I think that we could probably work a little bit harder to find more artist space in Boston that are sufficient enough for us to work in multiple places, not just one or two, so that everybody can work. I think that's the best way I could explain where I think this could go much further if we had the space to do that.
yeah,
And that's affordable and local to people who are in Boston, where
definitely.
where the liveliness is happening. That's where it's going on. So I
Yeah,
shouldn't have to go to out Attleboro to go to that studio out there, or go to, you know, Rhode Island or somewhere. Like, I shouldn't have to do that. I think that should be more local.
definitely. And I think that's something, you know, Boston in general just needs to work on, with just more space, affordable space for residents and creatives and things like that. So no, I definitely agree. I saw you in Pawtucket, I think that was a few weeks ago.
I was.
Beautiful studio.
I was. That shoot was at this what is that place called? The Wandering House, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And basically I think that's an artist space as well, but they live in those studios, I believe.
Oh.
So this woman who is, I believe her page is Boston Pollen, she creates floral design, pretty much. That's the best way to explain it. So I don't know if you saw the pictures, but they were like these floral pieces that were hanging from the ceiling and all in the corners. I mean, she just rearranges that space as she sees fit. So it's still a photography studio as well. There was like different rooms there. And so that's where I was at in Pawtucket, yeah.
Yeah, that was I loved that. I was like, wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah, I was like, can I move in?
Yeah, can I get those flowers?
Right.
What is like your are there any projects that you are working on now that you could share with us that you would like to share?
I don't have any projects right now that I have coming up that, I mean, besides regular, like, hair and makeup, not like anything too super creative. I don't have anything coming up right now.
Okay.
I've kind of done everything so far.
Are there any collaborations that you would like to, hold in the future? Any projects that you want to work on?
Oh man. I definitely want to work with the woman who did the floral designs or someone who does floral design.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that would be really cool to have a contrast of somebody probably in like some kind of the opposite, like an alien outfit or something to that effect, in a field of flowers or something like, so some kind of contrast. That's been something I've been kind of thinking about, but I haven't even started executing that yet because that just happened 2 weeks ago and it kind of just popped in my head while I was there. But yeah, that's something that I would definitely put in the works soon if I can before the weather gets us.
Already started.
Right.
Where do you see yourself, working with your craft, whether it's, editorial or you're just doing hair and makeup, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
I mean, I definitely want to get more on the education side of things because I feel like when I was in cosmetology school, it was very much so geared towards working in a salon, and that was like the only option. And I knew I never wanted to work in a salon. I knew that from day one that really wasn't my path. I was going into it to be creative and work more on a platform artist type of scale.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't really catered to. So I would probably want to start working on universally, like having all schools offer this, like a course, or having somebody come in and teach you about editorial hair and makeup. And I would probably be the educator in that aspect of things, or start like a team of people who can go out to different schools and open up that door for students who don't know. Because I didn't know. I knew I wanted to do that, but I felt like I was discouraged from thinking that could make, a livable wage and like making money and not having to work behind a chair. So I think I made sure that happened for me, but that doesn't mean that everybody will.
Yeah.
And they probably don't think that that's something that they could make money doing.
I was going to say,
I think the possibilities are endless these days.
Yeah.
And you can see that from hairstylists who are celebrity hairstylists, or where that's literally all they do. They don't even do regular hair and makeup. They literally only cater to celebrities. If they were in school, I'm pretty sure somebody would probably discourage them from thinking that they could do that full time.
Yeah.
And it's very much so possible.
I mean, it's definitely, you should definitely, get it out there. Definitely get it out
there.
Yeah. These teach to these schools where it's like, you have this curriculum, but you're not, you have this kind of straight lace curriculum and not giving your students the possibility to see more. That's a really good idea.
Exactly.
Social media has definitely, we're able to see these hairstylists and makeup artists so much more. And, I think, back, I don't know who her hairstylist is, but Tracy Ellis Ross, like she did this L cover, and I was like, wow, the whole shoot was crazy. You see,
right.
The outfits were bomb, but the hair is what stood out.
Right.
So no, I think, definitely Definitely pitched it. That's a great
Right.
idea. What advice would you give to, a student who's watching this, who's, they're thinking about cosmetology, or, just anyone in general who's thinking about transitioning into this industry?
The possibilities are endless. Don't ever limit yourself. Um, Definitely figure out how you can figure out what thing you like the most,
Mm-hmm.
and hone in on that. You can definitely be an artist who says, I work with color and that's what I want to do. You can and not do anything else. That's what you want to do. Master it and do what you want to do with that. If you want to work behind a chair, do your best at working behind the chair. Like, dedicate yourself to it. I did a lot of free shoots. I did a lot of creative stuff that was not making me money in the beginning, because you do have to get your feet wet, and you have to be a student, and you should always be a student. Like, you're always going to be learning. You're never a master at anything that quick. So don't ever think you are. You definitely have to always, always, always be working, always learning. The great thing about today is that the internet is way more advanced than before. So you guys have the leg up where a lot of education is online as well. So you should always be furthering your education. If you do decide to take the cosmetology route, that focuses more on hair. And I do want to be frank about that, because some people who want to do makeup, more so makeup, should not go to cosmetology school. They don't teach you makeup. They tell you they teach you makeup, but it's not as advanced as you probably think. You should probably go to esthetician school, or aesthetic school. Um, so kind of do your research on that. It's two different worlds. So make sure that you do your research and know what you want to do. And don't ever feel afraid to change that. If you feel like you want to go a different route later, then, that's fine as well. So it's kind of, I think, because I'm a free spirit, I never really let anybody tell me what I couldn't do. So I know that's easier said than done for some people, but I definitely think that if you want to do something, just go ahead and do your research, and then go ahead and do it.
No matter how strange it seems or abstract.
Nothing is ever. Let me tell you something. I was totally discouraged from doing what I was doing, and I completely mastered what I'm doing, and I'm always learning. I'm always on my phone, watching videos and tutorials and this and that. I'm always, always, always learning and always being inspired by other people. And one last thing I do want to say about that is to collaborate with other artists. Don't try to stand alone too much, and don't feel threatened by anybody else. Worry about yourself. Don't worry about who's doing something that's the same as you, or what you think is the same as you. Worry about yourself. Worry about mastering things for yourself. Don't worry about anything else going on around you.
Yes, I love that. I think with social media, it's so easy to just oh, she's doing this or he's doing this, and it's bad.
Yes.
Stay in your own lane. Stay in your own lane.
That's it. Stay in your lane and worry about you and not what somebody else is doing, or what you think they're doing better than you, quote unquote. Don't worry about that.
Yes. I forgot to ask you, which one do you like to do more, hair or makeup?
Ooh, people always ask me this. I always get this. I get this so much. I think that I can't say, because I feel like there's things about hair and the things about makeup that I like equally. Doing makeup is more like painting. It's more to do with color. So I will say that when it comes to makeup, obviously I like that part of it, because it does feel like you're painting. But with hair, because the way I do hair, like I'm creating pieces usually, or something more abstract. It's like I'm creating something with objects, or like I think of it kind of like pottery in a way. Ooh. Because I'm usually molding a hairstyle into what I want it to be. So I kind of like both sides of things from my background of visual art. Like, that's what I take from both things, that it's kind of like those two. Nice. Painting and pottery.
I just had to ask.
Sounds weird, but yeah.
She does them both very well. So I'm like, which one does she like more?
Thank you.
And, just a few more questions and then we'll wrap it up. So, you said you were born in Jamaica Plain, live in Jamaica Plain. Why have you stayed in Boston? What draws you to Boston?
I love Boston. It is my home, but I don't want to stay in Boston. But not because of anything to do with the creative world or anything like that. It's more so it's just cold here and I don't like the cold. So that has nothing to do with, the artistry part of it. But I do want to leave. I just don't know where to go, where I can still do what I'm doing here and the cost of living. And then also at my age, thinking about family in the future. So it's kind of like where you want to raise your children as well as, where you can work. So for me, it's kind of that point of view. And I do have to probably live in a major city, just because that's where you'll get most of your creative work, like LA, Florida, Texas, Atlanta, New York. So I have to pick somewhere along those lines of where I would want to be. So, I mean, I want to move, but I just haven't made that step yet.
In a rush.
It's a hard decision. Wherever I go, you kind of have to stay there for a little bit. So
yeah, you have to, kind of start from
right.
Not start from scratch, but start from scratch, especially with your, your career.
Right, and clientele. You do have to factor that in and say you have to start over. So.
Okay, so moving into Black history, what does Black history mean to you? Why is it?
Black history and Black present means a lot to me because I think that obviously this is the obvious that our people have been through so much. We still are going through those things. And we are resilient, we're talented, we're innovative, beautiful people. And I think for me, Black history, which shouldn't be confined to 1 month, so I'm glad we're talking about this in September. It's not confined to 1 month. It shouldn't be confined to 1 month because we have created a lot. We have moved and shaped a lot of things in this world, whether we get credit for it or not. And I think that we're still doing that. And even with all the negative things in that are happening to us, we still move past that. So I think that's a beautiful thing, whether it was in the past or the present, because we all know things are still happening. So
absolutely. Absolutely. I had a friend who said, it feels like right now we're in almost like a Black renaissance where
yes,
it feels like, we're not awakening more, but we're just more proud. Not that we weren't ever proud, but it's just like, I can do this. I could be an entrepreneur. I can be a scientist.
yes.
All of this stuff that I want. It's very inspiring just to see it from so many different people and so many different industries.
Right.
Yeah, this kind of feels like we're in a Black renaissance.
Right.
And what's for lastly, and I meant to ask this earlier, so sorry about that. What's something that you wish you would have known earlier in your career, or what's something that you wish you would have known earlier in your career?
I'll say the best way to say it, I wish I would have known the endless possibilities, as I said earlier in this interview, the endless possibilities of being an artist. When you think of an artist, years ago, this is before when I was in high school and, my formative years, that there's so many avenues you can take. If you want to be an artist, you don't have to paint. You don't have to do pottery. You don't have to do only murals. Like, you can do whatever you want. And the same thing goes with hair and makeup. As I said, I wish that I would have known how many avenues you can take in this world. Like, I was talking to a model a couple of years ago and I told her, like, she's like, well, I'm getting a little bit older for modeling. I'm like, okay, we'll start teaching modeling, start teaching posing, start becoming a visual director of photo shoots. Like, you like that world, but you don't have to do that one thing that you set your mind to when you were 7 years old. You can change as much as you want and still be happy within that field. So I wish somebody would have told me that instead of me having to learn it on my own in a way, or meet people that kind of showed me that with their career paths. You know what I mean? I had to learn that kind of late in life, considering I went to cosmetology school at 27. So it's kind of like, if I would have known that earlier, I probably would have been in school when I was much younger, and then not having to suffer 8 years working behind a desk because I didn't know. And I thought that, you know, the only way you can make money is by working a regular job, and, you know, all those things like that. I wish I would have known that.
And that's one of the reasons we're having this series. So Alexia, if people want to, you know, get in contact with you or follow you, how can they do that? Where can they do that?
You can definitely follow me on social media. I have an Instagram. It's Alexia, ALEXIAJAY, 2 underscores. You can email me at alexiajayinfo@gmail.com. Those are pretty much the 2 ways I communicate with most people. I'm really active on social media. So you can definitely find me there.
All right. Well, I'm definitely going to, you know, make sure I book my appointment soon with you. I want to thank you for, you know, just coming here and sharing your experience and, you know, just being willing to do that. And definitely feel free to, you know, get in contact with us if you need anything. And thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Have a good day.
Good luck, guys. Bye.